Hey everyone, thank you very much for checking out my newest video here today. We're going to do a brand new video of TENS. To recap what TENS is, a brand new series I'm starting, just going through some of the top 10 things on various things to look at your car. Could be complex things, could be simple things. I did one already on various things about your fluids. So this is a brand new video here today. Today we're going to be talking about what's coming out of your exhaust. There's all sorts of different things, from nothing at all to noise to smoke, liquids, all sorts of stuff that can be coming out of your car. So we're going to kind of approach that right now and talk about that a bit. So let's get started on that, shall we? Alright, so let's talk about the first thing, obviously, which is maybe the most simple one. If you have your car and you see out of your exhaust something's coming out, we'll get to what can come out later on, from fluids to smoke to noise, all sorts of different things that could be coming out of your exhaust. But if nothing's coming out, technically that means everything's running optimally. So that's what you're kind of looking for. Although there is many other things that could be coming out, which we'll approach on the other 9 items that we have. Of course, it also means your car could be off, so make sure your car is running before you check. Obvious. But yeah, so if everything's running well, temperature is good, no effect on there, nothing leaking into the engine, then technically you should be getting nothing coming out.
Alright, so the one thing that I actually get a lot from quite a few people, especially in certain temperatures, is this whitish smoke that comes out. And it scares some people. You know, I'll get people who ask me questions about it time to time. If you are getting a whitish smoke, it could be something more serious, and we'll get to that in a bit. But it also at the same time could just be something that's temperature related, which is the case with this car here. I don't know if you're even seeing the smoke properly or not, because it is very light. But when you start up a car and you have a cooler temperature on the outside, a warmer temperature that's starting to come out of the exhaust, until it regulates, you may get a whitish smoke that comes out, which is just the temperature itself enacting on the hot air versus the hot air being expelled out into the cold. You may get this a lot more in the spring, winter, and fall. Sorry, where you start up the car and you'll see that. So that's what this is kind of what you're seeing here. So you can see that we have some water dripping out of the exhaust here. Many people will have different things to say about what's the water that's coming out. Some will just say it's a little bit of a buildup in the exhaust that's being pushed out through the mufflers and everything like that. Others will say in perfect combustion that water that's building up here is perfectly fine. It's actually when we have perfect combustion in the engine, there should be a slight amount of H2O, not healthy H2, but H2O produced. So different arguments, but ultimately what it comes down to, as long as this water is clear and there's no color to it, then it's perfectly fine. That's actually a very good sign, and in my opinion, that means your engine's running really well with no issues. Again, some may disagree, but that's what I believe, and you'll see the drips here. This has scared people, especially new car owners that I've dealt with in the past, where they've seen this kind of fluid drip out, and of course they wondered what's going on, why is fluid already coming out of my exhaust. Again, nothing to worry about as long as it's clear and the car's running well with nothing else coming out. That's perfectly fine.
Alright, so I don't have a car right now that directly has this issue, so I'm just going to use this one as an example. But going back to what we just talked about with the clear fluid coming through. Now, at the same time, if you're seeing fluid come out of the car, right? There we go. But check the color of the fluid itself. Because if it's clear fluid, as I told you, that's normally a very good sign. Your thing is good. But if you have kind of a blackish fluid, which doesn't happen very often, then of course there could be indication further of engine oil getting into the combustion chamber, mixing in and coming out with water and oil. Also at the same time, if you see bluish water that's coming out and accumulating here, that's an indication of some sort of light coolant leak. So keep this in mind as well. Now again, I don't have a car to really indicate this, which is a good thing, but if you're getting a lot of white smoke that comes out of the exhaust, now this car, the smoke that's coming out here is actually where we talked about heat versus temperature. But let's just say you have a lot of white smoke, thick white smoke that's coming out, pretty bad sign in itself. That normally means that coolant is getting into the combustion chamber, and it's a lot of coolant for it to burn, and that white smoke is the burn itself is what you're seeing. You'll also have this accompanied with a loss of power, rough idle, the car may shut off and just be done entirely, but keep an eye on the smoke. If it's something light like what you're seeing here, that's one thing. But if you're seeing thick
billowing smoke that's coming out of your exhaust and it's white, that is a very good indication that you've got a head gasket leak or coolant that's getting in there somehow, that's mixing in with the fuel and burning out. So one thing you may notice, and you actually don't see it very much on newer cars these days, but it does happen from time to time, is you may start getting black smoke that comes out of the exhaust. You'll also get this kind of soot buildup right here. You see that? Oftentimes this is an indication, if you're keeping the car clean and everything, there's normally some kind of fuel issue. Could also be an oil issue, but we'll approach that separately. But talking about fuel specifically, if you're seeing this on here, then what that means is the car is not burning off all the fuel that's going in the combustion chamber. So it's expelling out, coming through the whole exhaust system and accumulating here. If you have too much fuel, you're actually going to get the black smoke. In this case here with the car here, where we're getting no black smoke coming up, but we're getting this kind of fuel sooty buildup on here, that means that the car is probably in need of a tune-up, or may need a fuel cleaning, maybe to the grade of fuel or the type of fuel being used. So keep that in mind as well. This is normally an indication of something in regards to the fuel, possibly oil, but most likely fuel, especially if you're getting black smoke that's coming out and this kind of sooty buildup here. So keep that in mind too. Okay, so in relation to part 6, we'll talk about a little bit more about this buildup here. So whereas I talked about fuel and black smoke coming out, alternatively, if you have a very dark gray or dark blue smoke coming out, almost like a midnight blue, that's a pretty good indication that there's oil that's getting through into the combustion chamber. Now, you also see the same thing you see in the fuel, where you get the black buildup along the inside of the exhaust. Now, if that's happening, the way to kind of really tell, as you saw when I touched it before and I had it on my finger, which I still do a bit there, cleaned it up a bit, but you see, is to smell it. Now, I'm not condoning putting your nose in your face of exhaust. It's incredibly dangerous. Do not do that. But if you touch a little bit of the soot and smell it, if you smell fuel will have that, if it's fuel, it's going to have that fuely smell, right? That kind of gasoline-ish smell. On the same time, if you smell it and there's kind of like this burnt smell, it's going to smell kind of burnt, like burnt rubberish sort of smell, not quite, but almost there. That's normally a pretty good indication that it's oil. So if your car is running fine, as in there's no smoke, no oils, nothing dripping out of the car, but you're hearing a noise similar to this, it could even be more pronounced, where it's like a noise, and normally indicates there's something going on with the combustion of the car itself. This could be something as simple as needing a tune-up, or your timing is off, or anything like that, but something is definitely wrong. A car should have a smoother noise. It could have a slight putt-putt to it, especially if it's a smaller engine or a bigger engine. You know, like small, very small 4 cylinders will have a very quick noise, whereas a bigger V8 could have more of a chug. But that's normal. But when you hear it gets a little bit more pronounced and louder, normally means your car needs something to go along with it, tune-up of some sort, something like that. All right, so going through everything we've talked about there, you may get a combination of things. So you may get a sputtering. Now this car is sputtering a bit, but it's also been modified pretty extensively, so the sputtering kind of goes along with it. But if you have a regular car and it's sputtering and you're getting a lot of smoke coming out, that's an indication that, one, there's a big combustion issue, but in tandem with the combustion issue, the smoke or the fluid will be an indication of what's causing it or what's helping contribute it. For example, if you have smoke that's coming out that is, let's just say, the darkish gray, dark blue smoke along with the sputter, that probably is a good indication that engine oil is getting into the combustion chamber, causing a misfire in the engine itself, and with that misfire is why you're getting that kind of rough noise. So you can kind of combine everything in there with the noise itself along with the smoke, and it'll give you a better idea of what to expect from your car. So this last one here is
kind of something that at one point only tuners and everything really had to worry about, people with high performance cars. But as turbos become more and more prevalent, this will become an issue as time goes on. This is talking about turbo leaks or turbo issues. If you are having a car with a turbocharger, and again, because turbos in the modern car at such a mass market level are very rare, when they're only starting to come up now, you may not have this issue for a bit. But if your turbo is failing to spool properly, or you're having problems with it taking in the exhaust, you may get a gray smoke. And this smoke will be a little bit different than your bluish smoke, your black smoke, your deep, thick white smoke, and your temperature smoke. It'll be kind of like a gray, almost like what you see come out of a chimney. This is at least an indication that your turbo may be not working as optimally or efficiently as possible. This will become an issue in later times. Now, not so much. A lot of cars are newer, but an improper turbo can give you that color as well. Thank you guys for watching the latest episode of TENS. I hope this has helped you kind of identify, just looking through your exhaust and seeing what's going on, to help you kind of understand the inside of your car a bit more. If you guys have any comments, anything like that, feel free to leave it down below, and I'll definitely address it as best as I can. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. That lets me know that you guys are liking what I'm doing. Other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Got some nice stuff coming up, so check it out.